Hey, Utah Mammoth fans, Tusks up, and welcome into another Utah Mammoth Daily update. So let's start today with where we sit on the roster, and that is 41 players as camp rolls on. Coach Andre Trigny has confirmed that Ollie Mata and JJ Peterka are both officially added to the injury list, and both are day-to-day with minor issues and expected to return soon. Liam O'Brien, Spicy Tuna, he's now back full. He's full practice now after a lower body setback. He's trending in the right direction to be ready for opening night. I'm hoping. I love watching Spicy Tuna throw some beef around. So the forward group remains banged up overall, though. Kerfoot is still out week to week. Cooley, McBain, and Hayton, they are all managing minor injuries and having maintenance days, so they are all day-to-day as well, on top of Peterka and Ollie Mata. The result is openings all over the lineup. These absences give depth forwards and younger players a real shot to earn roles that otherwise might not have been available if everybody was healthful. Healthful was the word I was looking for there. It's deja vu from last year when injuries on defense unexpectedly launched Michael Kesselring into a full-time job and was the key centerpiece of the trade to get JJ Peterka. This year, it's the forwards' turn to fight for these surprise opportunities. So who has a real shot? Who's pushing to get those opportunities for themselves? Well, from the veterans, it's Michael Carcone and Kyler Yamamoto. They're both versatile pieces who can slide anywhere in the bottom six. They're undersized, but they bring NHL experience and flexibility and loads of speed. They're the kind of players coaches love when the lineup is in flux because they are known quantities. You know what you get with Kyler and Michael. You really do. From the rookies, it's Cole Bedoin, Tej Iginla, and Daniil Boot. Three names that I'm sure you're sick of hearing me talk about, but they are three very talented prospects. They're still hanging around. Bedoin looks stronger, and again, I'm going to say this, he's still raw. Iginla is the name to watch, the one I really do think will make the roster. He has flash and skill, but his age and consistency is the question. And Boot, every day, he looks more comfortable with the North American game. His size, his hockey IQ, and his KHL experience, it all stands out over the top of the other guys. But the NHL isn't a development league, like I said yesterday, so he'll have to prove he can contribute right away, not just show promise and not just pop once or twice, but to have that consistency that we all want from every NHL player. The key point here, these guys are still in camp because they've done enough to stay there. With all the injuries, one or two of them may not just make the team. They could play real minutes early on and force some of the veterans to either be put on waivers or sent down to the AHL. So that's something to look at and something I have been keeping close tabs on as we've moved forward throughout camp and preseason. So another preview comes along before the puck drops on opening night, and this time it's Deadspin. Deadspin says Utah is going to be a playoff team. Finally, somebody agrees with me. National media is starting to buy in on Utah for the most part. Deadspin just listed the Mammoth as one of their surprise playoff picks for 2025-2026. The Athletic is a little bit more conservative with what they expect from the Mammoth this year. The argument is that Utah's forward core of Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, Barrett Hayton, and JJ Peterka is legitimate. If they all click, that's a playoff caliber top six. Deadspin notes the blue line doesn't have a single stud. I disagree. I think Sergachev is a stud. But collectively, it's above average with Sergei, Durzi, Marino, and Mata. And then you also have the young guys with Simashev and Maverick Lamoureux. So there's a lot there that just needs to prove it. To more people than just, me. I think the blue line is deeper than it's been for either the Coyotes or the hockey club, and now I think it's time for this season for them to prove it. Then there's the goaltending. Veggie is the key. If he can repeat last year's performance, saving over 20 goals above expected, Utah has the backbone to support their stars. And I think that they have a really legitimate NHL goalkeeper in Veggie. They just need to find somebody to spell him for a couple of nights. So on paper, Utah's a bubble team, but with Keller coming off a 90-point season and going into what I think will be a 100-point season because of the improvements around him, Logan Cooley on the rise. Maybe he'll match Clayton Keller's point total from last season if he comes in healthy. And Dylan Guenther scoring the 40 goals I think he's going to score. It's not crazy to see them pushing into the postseason picture and making some real noise. The question is whether the depth holds, because that's where they've been vulnerable basically all the time from when they were the Coyotes into last season. They need more depth behind that top. Last year was about the top 5. Behind the top 6 or 7, there needs to be at least a little bit more threat, and that's where Lawson Krause comes in. I think the Sheriff bounces back in a major way this season. He doesn't have to hold the locker room together as much during a hectic helter-skelter move, and now he gets to just play hockey. So I think that's going to be very important to watch as well. But other storylines to watch as camp winds down, it's the rookie race. Of these rookies, how many will make it, and who will get sent back down? For me, I think Tijagila is a lock, but Daniil Boot and Cole Bedoin are really starting to make a lot more noise, especially with the injuries to Cooley and the others. So that is something to watch. Maverick Lamoureux, he's huge. He's still very raw, but the coaching staff likes him a lot. If he can handle sheltered minutes, he might stick sooner than expected. I don't think he'll stick for opening night, but as the season moves along, if veterans get injured or trades happen, I think Maverick Lamoureux and Dmitry Simashev will be the first names up for the blue line. And I don't think that's too far-fetched to say. Maybe Artem Duda might have something to say about that depending on his performance in the AHL with Tucson, but that's kind of where we're sitting. Schmaltzy's role. Injuries have forced line juggling, but Nick Schmaltz looks comfortable sliding up and down the lineup. He just plays his game no matter where he's placed, and that's kind of irreplaceable, having somebody who's just comfortable playing his game no matter who's lining up next to him. His ability to distribute could be key early on if Logan Cooley or Barrett Hayton miss a lot of time. And then momentum versus hype. Utah has been called a surprise playoff team. They've been called a sleeper. They've been called up and coming, the hype train, all of this other stuff. That label can fuel belief among the fan base and the players, but it also sets expectations. This group has to prove that they can actually deliver on that hype. And Clayton Keller himself has said this should be a playoff season. If it's not playoffs, then it's a failed season. So not only is the media and the fan base creating this sort of expectation for them, they have their own expectations in the locker room, which matches what everyone else wants from them, which is crucial, I think. So that's where we're at. Training camp roster is thinning down to where we're going to be with the 26 or 27 on opening night. The injury list is still a little bit too long for preseason for my liking, and depth players are fighting for their professional lives. Whether Utah becomes the surprise playoff team, some believe, may come down to who takes advantage of these camp opportunities. I think they're a lock for the playoffs, but that's just me. That's your update for today, and I'll see you all tomorrow.